Hey guys, so I want to ask you a few questions. Do you ever feel like you are just drowning in your homeschool, or feel like you can't never catch up, or that you're missing out on things that you want to be teaching your kids, but you just can't find the time? If you are one of those people, and if you're new to loop scheduling, that is what I'm going to be talking about today. I had mentioned it in my last video, and it truly has saved our homeschool, saved my sanity. It's made everything much better. And I'm not worrying, oh, I'm missing out on this holiday, or I'm not touching on this enough, or we haven't talked about this in forever. So we are hitting our core subjects, and then we are doing our loops. And I'm going to talk about what they are in just a minute. So basically, we have our core subjects. These are subjects that we want to do every day. So we have math, Bible, language arts, and read alouds. So that's things that we're going to do every day, no matter what. If anything else, nothing else gets done that day, those things are going to get done. And then we have a morning loop and an afternoon loop. Now, you don't have to have a morning loop or an afternoon loop. You can have one loop. You can do it however you want. That's one of the great things about homeschooling. But on our morning loop, we do, typically in the morning, we do our read aloud time, and then we do our Bible, and then we do either art or poetry. So art could be working in a art notebook, or doing an art lesson online, or just getting messy and creating whatever they feel like creating. Or maybe we have something that can go along with one of our other lessons. And then for poetry, like I mentioned in our previous video about our homeschool curriculum, we have several awesome books in our home library that we can use for our poetry. So we just pull out of those and pick something to do that we can focus on poetry. And I think maybe in about 6 months, once we've done that for a while, we may focus on something else in the language arts area. So that is our morning loop. Now, in the afternoon, we have science, history, nature study, science, history, and geography. So that sounds a little funny, but I'm going to explain to you completely how to make your own loop system and how this works in detail. But basically, all you're doing is when you get your core subjects done for the day, or done however order you want to. Say we get our read aloud done and our Bible done, and we're not rushed that day, so we're going to go ahead and do our morning loop. We're going to do our art project, and then the next day we would do our poetry, and then the next day after that we do art, and then so on. Poetry, art, because there's only 2 in our loop. So in the afternoon, say we get our math and reading language arts done, we're going to go to our afternoon loop. So whatever subject is on our loop for that day, we only pick one. You can do as many as you want to per day. Or you can have 2 afternoon loops. It is completely up to you. So say we get our math and our language arts done, and it's time to go to our afternoon loop subject. So that would be science first. So we would do science, and then the next day we would do history, and then the next day we would do nature study, and then the next day we would do science again, and then the next day we do history, and then we would do geography. So that's how it works in our house. Now, I want to tell you the reason why I chose to do this and why it was just such a big lifesaver for our homeschool. Now, we homeschool year-round. We take many days off randomly. We do not do school Monday through Friday necessarily. We do it as we can and as our schedule fits. And if we have doctor's appointments one day, then we do doctor's appointments one day. I don't worry so much on hitting our loops. our loops. But we do try to get in those core subjects. But there's so much to fit in. Even on its day, we were at home, say the house was clean, we had food in the crock pot, like we didn't have to worry about anything. We still could not hit on math, Bible, language arts, our read aloud, our art, our poetry, our science, our history, our nature study, and our geography. We couldn't do that not in one day. There's no way. And then anything extra you want to do. You can always plug in an extra loop. Say it's the month of March and you want to focus on St. Patrick's Day something. Study Ireland or whatever. You can just plug it in. This doesn't have to stay permanent. So it takes the stress off of me who have younger kids, and I want my younger kids to experience like the holidays and do fun projects and all that fun stuff without like stressing like, oh, we got all this to get done this day. So basically we can, say if we did school Monday, Tuesday, and so Monday we did science, Tuesday we did history, then we were out of school till the next Monday, for whatever reason. We went on vacation or just had a bunch go on, or we got sick or whatever. So we wouldn't do just like we used to do. We used to do history on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and science on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if we did that, we may miss science for 2 weeks because we weren't doing school on Tuesday. But this way, nothing gets missed. We pick right back up where we left off. So we just continue through our loop. Okay, schedule. And I have 2 different options for planners. So we actually have a block style and then like a full page style. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That way I can show you exactly what's in here. I can get my hands on my paper and kind of show you in detail how to make your own loop schedule. Okay guys, so I hope this lighting is okay. So I'm just going to walk with you through how to plan your own loop schedule and what is included in the planner that I have created and how to use that. So, and why I included each part. So, I did a very back to school friendly cover, and I just printed it on cardstock. I will probably take mine to Staples and get it bound eventually, and then just maybe get 2 of them done. I don't know, just because this binder is going to be way too thick. I could add this to my homeschool binder. I could just do a couple inserts in here, but I kind of like the spiral. When you get something spiral bound, I like how it flips and turns, and I can take it to the couch with me and do my planning. So, so I just got a really back to school friendly cover, and then inside, let me make sure this is in frame. Okay, yeah, you guys can see. Okay, so I just have these easy dividers. I don't have much before the morning loop starts, but I have some pages for my morning loop, and then I have some pages for my afternoon loop. If you wanted to do another one with your core planning, which is probably what I'll end up doing once I get this planning done, I'll go into doing some of my core planning. We don't have to pre-plan for a lot of that. It's kind of just go on to the next lesson. Everything's there for you. But for for our loop subjects, history, math, or history, science, geography, things like that, we have a lot of printables that we have to get ready, and materials for various experiments and things. So that's why I needed something to plan these days out that was not dated. and that left me the area to get what I needed to do. So I have included for you guys 2 different versions of this planner. So I have one that is I think I called it blocks or boxed sheets. So it'll have this, which is just, they both include the same thing, but this gets 2 lessons on a page, or 4 if you print on the back, and I actually printed on the backs of mine. So to each sheet of paper, I get 4 lessons. So 4 subjects, 4 lessons in 4 different subjects. So I prefer this way. And when I was laying this out and confessing to my friend that I was trying to tell her how great loop scheduling was, and how I could plan it, because we are planners, she kind of helped me think up this idea. But this was her version. And she said she would prefer to do it on a full page. That is not what I prefer. So I went ahead and made it both ways, because I'm sure there's others like you, like her and like me, that prefer it different ways. So you'll have a full page version and a boxed version available for you. So the full page version is just for one, on one side, you get one lesson. So if you need a little more room, or you have a very detailed lesson, or you just know how you plan and you need a lot more space, so you can do this. And you can also print on the back, so you can get 2 lessons per sheet. So this is the box one, and all I have written on here is it's the same on both of these. So let me get my pencil. So I hope you guys can see this. I can't tell. So I have a place for your subject, and that's just going to be history, science, etc., whatever subject it is. A place for date, in case you are a person that wants to date when you plan, or you might have a specific date you want to do something, or you're going on a field trip that day and you want that lesson to be covered that day, or to fill in after you've done the lesson. I will probably do that, or check it. So I might write the date in and check it. That way I can look back and say, oh, we did this history lesson, but it's been 3 weeks. Let's see what we need to do. So that's why I left a place for the date. Then we have areas for keynotes, and this is just going to be a place where you can put any important notes you may want to make sure you hit on, or anything else you want to write about that lesson or subject. I forgot, we do have a place for a lesson or topic. So if it is about King Tut, you would write King Tut, or Legend of the Trojan Horse, honeybees and their hives. Whatever your subject is, you'll put here for that lesson for that day. Then we have a place for books, resources, and printables. Okay, this would be any resources you want to use with this lesson. It may be library books, YouTube videos, TV documentaries, field trips you want to take, or field trip ideas. Anything that is a resource can be put there. As far as printables, if you need to print them, you need to probably put it here, or make sure you mark it that you do need to print that out before. That's going to be something you need. So moving on to the next box, it is a materials needed area. So a lot of our Mystery of History, like this one for instance, needs toy horses, tape, and army men. And I haven't filled this out. This is just like an example. So yeah, there would be a lot more here. And I'm sure here as well. So, that's just a place for anything you might need to gather, print, make sure you have on hand, whatever. Okay? And both those pages have the same. And this right here is just for another lesson for another day. So if you would start with history, if it was first on your loop, and then you go to science, and then whatever's next on your loop. Excuse me, I've got the hiccups. Okay, so here's an example of the same information. Because obviously I don't have anything in here, but this is the same information that I have on this one, So you can kind of see how that would work differently. Okay, so now that you kind of see what loop scheduling is, I'm going to show you how to plan for yourself. So let's go through. I'm going to go to my back of my afternoon loop. And I have also included this matching schedule planner. So for each loop you're going to want to plan out a sheet to plan it, unless you just know in your head the subjects right off that you want to loop. Okay, so up here you're going to write in if it's loop 2, or if you just have one loop, you might just not leave that blank. So I put loop 2 afternoon, because that's when we do it, and that's my second loop. Then I just put the subjects that I know I want to loop. So history, science, nature study, and geography. These could be anything at all. You can loop your core subjects. If you do something different for language arts, you could have a language arts loop. You can have a cleaning loop. You can have a library book loop, or read aloud loop. You can loop anything. So, but this is mainly for homeschooling, so we'll stick to that for today. So we have, I know over here we have a section for frequency, and what this means is for every time that we do our nature study, I know I want to do history twice. So we don't need to hit on this as much as this. We don't need to hit on geography as much as this. You got what I'm saying? So I put history and science, our frequency is twice. And then nature study and geography, I put once. So how do we figure out what our loop's going to be? Because we're not just going to go history, science, nature study, geography, history, science. You know, you get what I'm saying. I completely messed up there, though. So over here I have a little notes section. You can do this on another sheet of paper. But basically you can kind of see my little initials for each of the subjects. So you're just going to play around where you can fit 2 of those in to 1 of those. So here's how mine worked. History, science, nature study. History, science, geography. History, science, nature study. History, science, geography. You get it? You keep looping around. So that perfectly evens those out. Now if I had more, or needed to do history more than anything else, I might do history, science, history, nature study, history, geography, history, science, or something like that. So you figure this out. It's very easy to do. I've made this very user-friendly. And I'm sure there's other videos out there as well that may be more into how to get this, or more ideas out there of how they've scheduled their loops. So on the next page, so this is still in my afternoon loop behind that divider. And this is, you can tell, this is the one we used last year, so it's kind of messed up. So I have just typed this up, and I can't do this for you. And you don't really have to do this. You can just maybe jot down. But having our procedures for each subject keeps when I go to plan, it helps me to remember to add everything in. So every curriculum or activity, whatever, they're going to have different things that you need to do while you do that lesson. So all this is our procedure. So for Mystery of History, and this is just for our afternoon loop, our Mystery of History procedure is we're going to read the story or the lesson. We're going to answer questions. We're going to complete the activity, and we're going to add to our timeline. we do not do the flashcards anymore. So we just add to our timeline. For Apologia Astronomy, we're going to check our lesson plan. We're going to complete the task on lesson plan, and we're going to read corresponding books we have in our home library. That is our procedure for our astronomy, and that's all it is. So like for this, it's very vague, but I know that I need to check in my book. Apologia does a very well job of having a day lesson checklist, so you can just complete and check off in that book. So for nature study, for our procedure, I didn't really do anything. We just work in our lap books. We make lap books. And I just put some ideas that I think we should hit on. This could change. We are currently doing birds. And I just kind of let them work till either we're tired of it or they're just done with it or completed it. So we just do a little, whatever they want to study on, we work on that. And I think we may actually switch our science. One of my friends uses Christian Kids Explore, and I'm going to see what I can do about getting that and starting that. So it'll take some of these little lab books away, and it'll take our astronomy away if we choose to do that. And then for our geography, we don't do like I said in the previous video, we don't do a curriculum, but we're going to read our state Vendex. We're going to locate the state on the map. So for geography, we are doing states, if I forgot to mention that. So each time we do a lesson, we'll just do a lesson on a state for that day. We're going to read a story or a library book, and we're going to complete any worksheets or map work that we have printed off. So I'm just going to go, when I go to plan for this, I will just write that stuff out for that lesson. So, and then I just go into, and I probably need a little divider here, not anything that pokes out, but just to keep these separate. You could put these in the front of your book as well, or in a different planner, whatever. But you can print out for your whole, if you do 180 days like us, you can print out enough for 180 lessons or 100 lessons, because, you know, you might not do your loop every day. Or you can just print out for the time you want to plan. Say you want to plan for 5 weeks or a month or whatever. You want to sit down and plan for that, and that's all you want to do. You can do that. So I've made the printable, the download. It's in 3 different parts. The planner's in the block is in one. The full page is in another. And then I have the planning sheet as a separate download. I'm going to try to get those together, but just in case I don't. I'm going to get into planning myself. I have not, as you can see, I haven't planned anything. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down on my couch with this in my cozy pajamas. And I like to use a pencil, but you can use whatever you like. And I'm just going to go through each subject. I'm going to go history, science. I'm probably going to fill in my subjects: history, science, nature study, history, science, geography. And I'm going to go back through and fill in for each of those lessons what I can look at. Look, I can utilize Pinterest and utilize the internet and utilize all these great moms who's put out these great printables online for us to use and actually get them printed out and use them. Because it's so hard. Like, you come in the morning and you're like, oh, we're doing King Tut. I can't find anything to do. We don't have that stuff to do that project. And you got to search around on the web and try to get stuff printed off in a hurry. And your kids are like, Mom, we're done, ready for school. So, and I'm sure that's happened to many of you, because it happens a lot. It happened a lot to us. So I'm going to make sure that I print out stuff. So maybe like the week before, so I'll go through, or however far in advance, and I'll say, okay, I need to print off this for this lesson and this for this lesson, and I need to make sure I got the link to that saved and the link to this video saved and whatever, right where I need to go if it's a Netflix documentary. But that way I can just take the time to really search and find the best information for my kids so that they love what they're learning about. And that's really what it's all about, saving our sanity and helping them enjoy the things we're trying to teach them and helping them to stick with them. Okay guys, so I hope you liked this video. I hope it helped you and inspired you to start your loop scheduling for homeschool. I really hope it helps you as much as it helped us. It's really been a lifesaver and a sanity saver for me because I'm very much a perfectionist and I love planning. I love that I'm able to plan out my loop schedule. There was nothing I could find on the web that allowed me to plan out my loop subjects like I needed to. Now, for your core subjects, if you want to plan for those as well, there's absolutely no reason why you can't use this for your other subjects as well. I would just put them in a different divider, just like you would do your morning loop. So that's it. I hope you guys give this video a big thumbs up. I hope you share it. I'm trying to grow this little YouTube channel of mine. I am currently 16 weeks pregnant, filming this. So I'm very excited to share that with you guys and a lot of other homeschooling stuff and freezer cooking and stuff that I've just kind of felt like blah the last couple of weeks. I hope I'm getting back into it, and I hope that you stick around and watch some other videos on my channel. So thanks. Have a great day.